Hey everyone, Kaylee here. So today I'm doing a little makeup tutorial. A lot of you guys asked for a tutorial on this subtle smoky eye that I was wearing in a recent video. So I'm gonna show you guys how to do it. I'm using the Carly Bible palette for most of this. So it's affordable. A lot of you guys probably already have your hands on it because I know it's super popular. And I think this look is pretty easy. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So I'm gonna start with this Dermalogica Hydro Blur Primer. This is new to me. I like that it's hydrating and it feels really good on the skin. And I always make sure to hit my under eyes so there's no creasing. Okay. All right, moving on to foundation. I'm using the Milani Conceal and Perfect. This is my new go-to foundation. It's so beautiful. It's got the best just finish to it. It's a little dark for me, so I'm gonna blend it down my neck. But if you're looking for a good drugstore foundation, I really recommend this one. I'm gonna blend this out with a Sephora 95 brush. It's kind of like a dense blender brush in the middle with a stippling brush on the outside. And I'm just going to buff this in little circular motions. Try to get everything as even as possible. Now we're gonna move on to the Tarte Shape Tape and my Artiste brush. My friend Tati, who is also on YouTube, gave this to me when I asked her if they're worth the hype. She was like, yes, and you have to take this brush and try it out. So thank you, Tati. I'm now obsessed with Artiste brushes. I'm just gonna take a little bit over the ridge of my nose, under my eyes, and probably hit my chin and my cupid's bow just a little bit for some extra highlights, and blend it out. And speaking of things that live up to the hype, this Tarte Shape Tape Concealer is no joke. I know everybody raves about it, but it's because it's awesome. All right, I think that is enough coverage for me. Oh wait, I forgot. This little guy that decided it was the perfect day to pop up decided this was his moment, the day that I was gonna film this video. Let's take a little bit of extra concealer. Just see if we can make him hide a little bit more. You know, he's still gonna be there. We can't get rid of him completely, but at least it's a little bit less obvious now. Okay, so now let's set everything. I'm gonna use this Kat Von D setting powder. I really like this one. I used it the other day and my makeup lasted so well and the finish was so pretty. So I'm just going to take this Sigma F25 and go over my face with a light layer to set everything in place. All right, so let's finish off the face. I'm gonna do a little bit of bronzer and blush, and I'm gonna use this IT Cosmetics Confidence in Your Glow palette. I actually really love this thing, so I'm gonna be using the bronzer and the blush from it. And I'm gonna start with the bronzer. Just a tiny bit through the hollows of my cheeks, or at least where I would like there to be hollows of my cheeks. Same thing on the other side. I really love this bronzer. It's very like buttery and blendable, and I like the finish just of this palette in general. It's very natural looking, but very glowy. And now onto this nice kind of natural coral blush. Just gonna pop that over the tops of my cheeks for a little glow. Then for my highlight, I'm actually gonna switch away from this palette. This is a really pretty highlight, just a tiny bit icy for this look. So I'm gonna use the Makeup Revolution Vivid Baked Highlighter in Radiant Lights. It's a nice pretty golden highlight. A little bit of this goes a long way, so I'm just gonna kind of dust it over. I like to call this the outer V of my face, just like go along the top of my cheekbone and around the outside of my eye. Just gonna focus out there. And then before we move on to eyes, I'm gonna use the L'Oreal Infallible Makeup Setting Spray to make sure all this is locked down. To prime my lids, I'm going to use this Fiona Styles Eye Primer. I love this stuff. I always remember after I've done my face makeup, this is a nice thing to do at the beginning of your makeup. Now that we're primed, we're ready for this smoky eye. So I'm gonna be using the BH Cosmetics and Carly Bible eyeshadow palette. I just got this one and I'm obsessed with it. Like, I get why everybody loved it so much and why they came out with the second edition. So I'm gonna go for a nice golden glow here with the eyes. I'm going to mostly focus on having like a nice kind of bronzy shimmer and then really go in on that smoky eyeliner. For my lid's base color, I'm going to use this nice dark brown highlight that's in the palette as my base. I'm gonna mix it with a tiny bit of the golden highlight that's right next to it because I'm a little fair skinned, but if you're more medium tone, you could just go with that one shadow. Just gonna sweep that over my lid. You can see that insane pigmentation coming through. And I'm actually even gonna take this a little bit into my crease. This overall shadow application is gonna be a tiny bit on the messy side, but I think the overall look ends up being very pretty. So now I've been really into kind of haloing my lids, which is when you do a really light color right over the center. So I'm gonna take that kind of golden highlight that she has in the nice big rectangular pan, and I'm going to put that right over the center of my lid. And I'm patting it on with a more dense brush so I can really get that color payoff. And then I'm gonna take that same kind of champagne-y gold color into the insides of my inner corner. Or just into my inner corner. I'm not really sure what the insides of my inner corner would be. Stick it right in my eye. That is a lot of shimmer. I am not mad at it. But now we're gonna go into the crease and kind of just define things. I'm not going for a cut crease or even a statement-y crease of any kind. I just wanna give a little bit of depth and dimension to it. Let's go in with another fluffy brush. I'm gonna do this kind of warm bronzy color, and that one's gonna go through my crease, add a little bit of warmth to the look and a little bit of definition. And you can modify this for your skin tone by basically going for something that would be like a really, really warm bronzer on you. Bonus, when you use really warm eyeshadows like this, and you have blue or gray eyes, it really makes the color pop. But I also think it really brings out the really pretty amber kind of yellow tones in brown eyes. So it's good for all of you. Then obviously we're gonna go under the eyebrow with a little bit of a matte highlight shade, and I'm just using the lightest skin tone shade in this palette. This is a great chance to really blend in with that crease color and make sure everything is nicely diffused and very smooth looking. And a fluffy brush really helps with that. So definitely make sure you have switched out for a really fluffy crease brush to get all this blending done. Now I wanna move on to really smoking up the liner. This eyeshadow, it's definitely shimmery. It's got a little bit of depth to it, but I really wanna add in the punch with the liner. So I'm gonna start with my lower lid, and I'm gonna use this little tiny brush that I picked up at Namie's recently. I love this little guy because it really gets right in that lower lash line and you can really blend things out. So I'm gonna go with this kind of medium brown shade from the Carly Bible palette, and I'm going to really smoke that gently into this lower lid. And because I like to kind of pull the shape of my eye out a little bit, I'm gonna focus a lot of the depth on the outside. Now I'm gonna get to the actual eyeliner on my top lid. I'm going to be using this Ciate eyeliner, which is one of my favorites ever. It blends really, really well, but once it's set, it is set, which is basically all you need in an eye pencil. So I'm actually gonna just like gently touch this along my lash line, and then I'm going to blend it out a little bit, and we're gonna blend some dark brown eyeshadow over it because I like a very, very smudgy liner. So little gentle taps like this are a great way to make sure you never accidentally add too much product. And I find it helps you to keep from getting those like skid marks if you go way too fast and then you have those awkward peaks in your eyeliner. This has a brush on the other side of the pencil, which I have somehow kind of messed up, but I still use it. We're just gonna take little tiny swipes and just kind of blur the edge of that liner. And this is why I'm keeping it kind of close, or I kept it kind of close to the lash line, because you don't want to end up blending so much that it takes over your lid. You just want to smoke out the top of it. And if you end up smoking out too much, you can go back in and just touch it up a little bit. The very last thing I like to do to this eyeliner is do a little bit of dark brown to kind of help blend that bronzy shade into the black. But there's not a really dark brown in the Carly Bible palette, so I'm just gonna pull out my Lorac Pro palette, which is very well loved, and just use this really dark brown to kind of blend everything together. Obviously, you can use whatever dark brown you have. I'm gonna take a little pencil brush and smudge and blend. All right, so now we get to move on to the lashes and brows. So I kind of like switch off so that each thing has a chance to dry as I go. I'm gonna start with the Benefit Gimme Brow through my brows. This helps to define your brow hairs, keep them in place, but it also adds in little false fibers to help your brows look thicker. I already have pretty thick brows, but I have sparse areas like anybody else, so I like to kind of build up. Okay, so while that dries, I'm gonna move on to the eyelashes. I'm going to first curl them and then apply the Tarte Lights Camera Lashes Mascara, because that one is nice and lengthening and defines kind of the ends of my lashes really well. Today I'm going for a really lashy look with this tutorial because I think the lashes plus the smoky liner is a really pretty look. And obviously, I ended up hitting my eye with the mascara. I'm gonna wait for that to dry. You should never try to move wet mascara or else it's just gonna streak across your face. Which I almost did with that brush. That would have been great, just whoosh, mascara line. Now while that dries, let's move back to the eyebrows. I'm just gonna use my Anastasia Brow Wiz and just go in and define my brows, add a little bit more to this area, pick up my arch a little bit, just the usual. So now that the brows are sisters not twinsified, we're gonna, I don't even know what that means. Now that the brows are ready, we're gonna do one more coat of mascara, but first I have this little eyelash brush comb thing, which I bought on a whim and I actually really like it, so I'm gonna just like comb my lashes a little bit and then I'll add some mascara after that. This is just like the coolest thing. You like wiggle it in and brush it out and it makes the ends of your lashes look so nice and wispy. Then we'll go back in, we'll add a little bit of volume at the base, and everybody's gonna be asking you if your lashes are fake. And you're gonna be like, no, they're mine. Because you did like 5,000 steps on your lashes, which is totally worth it. So I'm finishing off with the L'Oreal Voluminous Butterfly Mascara. This one is awesome for getting that like volume at the root, but wispiness at the end. So I have this routine that I do. I like to place it against my lashes, blink, and wiggle, and then blink and wiggle, and then don't do anything else. And usually it works. Because I am really bad at doing that like wiggle and pull, can't do it. But I can do this, and it still gets me that pretty volume at the base. So it works. And that is the eye look, so let's finish off with the lips. All right, for my lips, the first thing I'm gonna do is just line them a little bit. I'm using ColourPop's lip pencil in Brink. I'm actually gonna go really light with this because this color is a tiny bit dark. Here's actually what I do. I make my little line and then I'm going to add on the Kylie Cosmetics with Kim Kardashian collab lipstick. This one honestly have a love-hate relationship with this whole line. The colors are amazing. And it looks great when you first put it on, but you absolutely 1000% have to have a lip liner under it, or else like it's gone in 30 seconds and it just doesn't perform as well. So you definitely need a lip liner under it. I'm using the shade, what is this? Kim, I'm using the shade Kim. And there is your Subtle Summer Smoky Eye. I really like this one because it's a more subdued smoky eye. I'm not usually somebody to go super over the top with my makeup, and I know a lot of you have told me in the comments you're not either, so hopefully you guys enjoy this for your smoky eye occasions, or if you really like being extra with your makeup, pull this out for a Tuesday. It'll be cute there too. So that's it for today, guys. I will see you guys in my next one. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. If you are subscribed, consider hitting that little bell notification so you're notified the second that I post a new video. And that's it. I will be back next Saturday with another tutorial. Mwah! Bye.